I'll see you in another life when we are both cats.
I'm Steph.
And I'm Ange.
We're
Nerdazons.
This fortnight was my choice. I thought I'd go a little bit different, and I was going through my list of movies that I hadn't seen, remakes and things we could go through, and I kept hearing about Vanilla Sky. Never seen it in my life.
Me neither.
Never had an interest to see it.
I didn't even know about it. I honestly didn't know about either of these films. And when I first looked for Open Your Eyes and I saw the poster, I thought, oh, great, Steph's picked some lovey-dovey. Because it's Penelope Cruz looking all wispily, like, and I just thought, oh, this is not going to be my film. Holy cow. Wow.
I was like, oh yeah, this is the movie that Tom Cruise met Penelope Cruz on. Oh, and I did hear some good things about it, but I was like, all right, let's give it a go. So I've chosen Vanilla Sky versus the Spanish version, Open Your Eyes, 1997. A very handsome man finds the love of his life, but he suffers an accident and needs to have his face rebuilt by surgery after he's severely disfigured. Synopsis of Vanilla Sky 2001. A self-indulgent and vain publishing magnate finds his privileged life upended after a vehicle accident with a resentful lover. All right, so
story. Oh my God,
yes.
Please. I have been dying to talk to you about this since the night I watched these films. Wow. I was not expecting this to be so good. I strongly advise anyone who hasn't seen either of these films, start with Open Your Eyes. It is the superior out of the two. The story was so mind-blowing. It was a bit slow at first, but not for long. Like, as soon as the accident happens, I was just like, oh, what's happening? And I think my note that I wrote, I have to find it because it was just crazy.
To me, Open Your Eyes felt like more of a horror film.
Yeah, it was more trippy.
It had a lot of creepy aspects to it. But before we get to it, I just want to say that Caesar's mask with his eyebrows made it even that little bit more creepier to me than the
Tom Cruise one, because you still had to make him look gorgeous. That's the problem.
Of course.
But my note that I wrote is this story has a lot of Beauty and the Beast / Phantom of the Opera / cryogenics, Inception, Total Recall. It had everything rolled into one. And yeah, it was still entertaining. I wasn't expecting this to go where it went.
No, I had no idea what this movie was even about.
And I was so tired. I was like so ready for bed. It was like 11:30 and I'm like, I need to finish this film. Like, I stayed up late just to finish this film when I watched it. I didn't think I'd get that hooked because, again, I was thinking in the beginning, oh, it's going to be some like romance film. But wow. And the biggest thing I'll say between the two and the story, Open Your Eyes isn't as spoon-fed as Vanilla Sky.
Oh,
so
yes.
You really don't know if he's crazy or not, or if it's a dream up until the end and he reads the like about the subclause 14 in the contract. Whereas with the Tom Cruise one, Vanilla Sky, I did write this down as a note. They really tried to wake him up. Like, every argument they had, it was like, oh, wake up to yourself, or oh, you must be dreaming or something. So they really spoon-fed it in the dialogue throughout, even with some of the other like symbolism throughout. They really, if you had seen Open Your Eyes, you were pretty aware of that happening. But yeah, with the original, it was just mind-blowing.
I watched Vanilla Sky first, because I was like, yeah, I need to watch this one first because I wasn't in the mood to watch a subtitled film, and I knew that I wasn't going to concentrate as much.
Yeah.
With Vanilla Sky, I was watching it going, what the heck is going on? What is this movie about? And then I was super confused, and I was like, I felt like it was a little bit too long for me as well.
It was a big, I wrote this down, it was a big time difference. I think it was an hour and 50 for Open Your Eyes, and it was 2 hours and 25. Of
Yeah.
course, they have to do the one up.
And so I was like, I don't know, I couldn't connect to Tom Cruise that much. I thought he
Same.
was just too arrogant.
Yeah.
And I was like, your face isn't even like, yes, okay, it's disfigured. It was like Gerard Butler.
Yeah. It's because like Hollywood still has to make like these movie stars attractive, you know? It's like they don't want to be horribly disfigured. They still want to be attractive. Whereas
Yeah.
that's what I really love about classic horror films is like they were prepared to go into prosthetics and look hideous and be that monster, and I liked that. But yeah, couldn't even, well, you could tell he was like messed up, but
Yeah.
not by much at all. But the story,
They were quite similar. They were actually very, very similar stories. I mean, of course, they're remakes, but I felt like they were almost,
the differences were
yeah.
so subtle, and I
Mhm.
think it was just really the differences were because I think it's 7 years between the two films, and the
Mhm.
differences were really translating from one country to the other.
Yes, well,
Uh,
one was set in New York, the other one was set in
Spain.
Madrid.
Yeah. So that's really the vibes that changed. But I do have more to say around the story, but I think it's going to involve some of the characters. So I think we're going to
Yeah.
move on quite quick.
What I wanted to say before we move on is that when I watched Vanilla Sky, I was a little bit bored, couldn't really connect with Tom Cruise, whereas with Open Your Eyes, I knew what was coming, but and I knew that the storylines was quite similar. I just was like, I'm way more intrigued in this one. I felt for Caesar a lot more.
Yeah.
It was kind of strange to see Penelope Cruz play the same character.
Okay, that's why I wanted to move on
Yeah.
because Penelope Cruz is the one I really want to discuss.
All
So
right, we'll start with
she
her.
is the main character. Well, she's one of the main characters, but she's the only one who's in both films. I started with Open Your Eyes. She was 23 in that film.
Mhm.
So when she did Vanilla Sky, she was 30.
Mhm.
I feel like there was a big personality difference between the two. So in like the first one, she was very girl next door, innocent, full of life, loves life,
Mhm.
likes the beauty in things that other people might not. Whereas I feel like in Vanilla Sky, she had more of a Western attitude to things.
Mhm.
So she was a bit more, what's the word? Her personality was more loud compared to her original character. And I was expecting her to come across and be that same girl. And I feel like the magic or mystery behind this girl that he met at a party was kind of gone. Like, but it was so obvious. The two of them were flirting the whole way through the film.
I know, and I felt so bad
With the
for
friend, for Jason Lee.
yep, and also for Pelio, because I was like, he was totally like digging this girl,
And he just
and
had, the best friend just had to come in and, you know, he has
and
everything. It's that typical story, like, oh my God, I just clicked Death on the Nile. It's that rich kid has everything. And then when their poor best friend finally finds something they like, they have to come in and take it.
we're quoting our previous episodes quite a lot.
Well, the more film you
Yeah.
watch, the more you realize that a lot of film just has the same
Format.
template for things.
Yeah, but I felt like you're right. Like she was so much better in Open Your Eyes, but I was like, do you know what gave me more of that like horror feel was her being a mime. I was like, oh, that's like creepy to me. Like she was a
Oh, no,
silent mime and
I don't know, but back to the mime, I was actually going to mention there was one thing, and I'm going to use your word that you say a lot actually, and I wrote this down. I said, I think Penelope falls flat in Vanilla Sky. So in the
yes.
original one, there was just so much emotion, but a softness to her, whereas in this one, she was like jagged and flat with her emotion, and there was no like emotionally connection that I felt she had to the main character. So she didn't seem traumatized by the incident. And then she didn't seem traumatized by the fact that this guy wouldn't leave her alone. Whereas in the original, when she was breaking down but trying not to show it because she was too nice a person, it seemed so much more believable. Whereas in this one, she just looked like annoyed, like, okay, I'm going to go now, guys. Leave me alone. But
Well, Yeah, I agree. But look at when the scene in both of them where they're at the party and he pulls her away and he's like,
He needs to get away from the.
Nuria. So she's like, okay, gets in this room, and he's like, and whereas with Vanilla Sky, she's like, oh, look at that girl, red dress, ha ha ha, and like pulls her away, and it's tries to be romantic when it's
Yeah, I just think, like, and another thing that built her character up in the original is she was hesitant and she was still loyal to Paleo, who took her to the party, and she's like, I'm not going to go into that room with you. Whereas in the other one, she was just way too forthcoming too quick. Another note I wrote that I could tell she fell flat and she wasn't as traumatized is so the mime scene in the park specifically, she cries, she breaks down, she's like, she's 23. What 23-year-old wants to be locked down after someone who's been through that? And she met the guy once and he won't stop leaving her alone. Like, it's a lot for her to take.
So it's stalkery vibes. Now I'm looking at it, I'm like,
and I thought the same. And then whereas in the remake, she's a ballet dancer, and he comes to the ballet studio and she doesn't come across as traumatized because, she's laughing with him, hugs him. She hasn't broken down. And I just feel that's why I feel like I couldn't connect with her as much in this one. And it just set a different tone to the story. Like, there was just something in the way they filmed the original that made her that magical, mystical creature, that he did fall in love with immediately, and you can almost see why he did.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely, Penelope Cruz in the original. Mwah.
The point.
So should we move on to Caesar and David?
Yes.
David, Tom Cruise, I could not connect with him in the slightest. I thought I get it. He's an arrogant businessman. When he was in the asylum and things like that, I was like, you don't come across as mentally unwell.
Yes, I wrote that exact note. I wrote, geez, he really doesn't seem like someone who is mentally unfit and does or doesn't know that he did do this crime, whereas in the original he really couldn't tell. And actually, back to that point with Caesar, or Cesar as I think they pronounced it, for a split moment didn't think it was him until because you saw it kind of went to that quite quickly, right? And you didn't see the accident until after the first asylum scene. So I was thinking, oh, it's got to be Paleo. He's probably snapped and thought, oh, he's always taking my life. I'm gonna go crazy, kill everyone, and then I'm gonna think I'm him. And I thought that was the plot that we were gonna go down, and I wasn't expecting. And then the car accident happened, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, we know it's not him. But that's how trippy the way they overlapped those scenes is. You really didn't know what was happening. You didn't know who was under the mask. You didn't know if he was disfigured or not, because as the story progresses, he thinks his face got better. And I thought, wow, okay, that's pretty good. And the acting he gave, he really seemed confused, whereas Tom Cruise didn't. It was just typical early 2000s Hollywood film. And I made a note, and this was the very first note I put for the Vanilla Sky film. America always has to one-up everything. Fancier apartment, fancier cars, he's more vain, and there's always a running scene with Tom Cruise, and that was the opening scene.
Yes, and actually on that, what happened was Tom Cruise actually saw the premiere of Open Your Eyes at the Sundance Festival, and
in the credits I was reading up on that. So during the credits, tried to get the rights to the film.
That's right. The director, who was Cameron Crowe, he also was like, I want this as well. And they actually did not Tobey Maguire. Show me the money.
Tobey Maguire.
No, not Tobey.
Not Tobey Maguire. Shit, what is it? Eddie Maguire.
No, Eddie Maguire does.
The TV show. Tobey Maguire is Spider-Man. What the hell is?
No, Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire. Oh, we've watched too many things.
What they actually did that film together. So they were both like, nah, we need to have this movie. We need it.
Yeah, I you can see why. It was a full passion project / playground for him in this film. And just back to David and Sessa, another thing that I feel didn't translate very well. Oh, this is my note. No, it was hard to believe the whole spoiled rich kid thing with Tom Cruise, because he was 30 compared to the original being 23. So at 23, yeah, he did look like someone who shouldn't have had all that money for that age. You know, when you're older and you're like, man, I've been working so hard and you're making more than me. He gave off that vibe. Whereas Tom Cruise looked the right age of like, well, yeah, I mean, if you're in a good job, you should be earning that. And Sessa didn't like to show off his cars, and that's one thing that I didn't like that Tom Cruise did, is that they had new different cars every time he went out.
Yeah, and he just didn't, I don't know, didn't like, I'm not a huge Tom Cruise fan to begin with.
Mind him, I wouldn't say I'm the best fan, but I wouldn't say I'm his like biggest fan.
I'm not his biggest fan. So, and he did kind of annoy me a little bit, but even the friendship between David and Brian versus Caesar and Paleo, their friendship was so much tighter and like believable. Yeah. Whereas I felt like Jason Lee's character was like only hanging around him because got a rich friend.
I felt a different vibe. I felt that he was only hanging around him because he was obligated to.
Yeah.
Because he mentioned the book, and I feel like he only stuck around because, I've got to, you know, I'm entrusted to him now, whereas I don't believe he would have gone for the money. Like, I did get that vibe that they were friends, that he wouldn't do that, but I also got the vibe of, I'm only here because you're paying for my book.
Exactly.
Or else I probably would have, like, stopped being friends.
Exactly. And you're just like, and, you know, even though, like, Brian was in love with Sophia, I didn't realize their names are exactly the same as well. They're both called Sophia. Really? And I felt like, you know, why would you do that to your friend who's like, dude, you take all of my girls. Every single girl that I'm like, I think like I might love or whatever, you're like, take her away. I'm going to. What a dick move. Like,
yeah.
dude.
And then to be like, you know, even if she falls for you, so what, we'll still be friends. Nah, that's a bit messed up. I think for me in the original, with Paleo, when he thinks the girl is the love of his life, that's the part that I truly believed, and it made it so much more shittier that he just hit on her straight away. Whereas with Jason Lee and that, they made it so obvious immediately that she wasn't interested. Like, they met that day, brought her to the party, and then I think it just made it for the viewer and I guess the Western audience not so heartbreaking that he stole her away. But I think it kind of ruins the dynamics to the relationships and the characters.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about, I am a pretty big Jason Lee fan.
Me too.
I thought he was in this movie as well.
It's so weird seeing him play
not a serious
normal role.
Yeah, not so much serious, but a normal person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And whereas, you know, I think Paleo was so much better, and like he seemed like a genuine friend. He wasn't, you know, in it for the money. He didn't feel like he owed Cesar anything.
Yeah, I agree. I love Jason Lee as well, and I watched him a lot mid-2000s in a lot of his films before, you know, he did his comeback series My Name is Earl.
Oh yeah, I freaking loved that.
Same, I did too. It's so underrated. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think Paleo had a better connection. It made it, to me as a viewer, it felt like they were childhood friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yes, definitely. This movie, I don't know, I did like it. Oh my god. That just blew my mind.
Oh.
Wait. Oh my god. Okay, I thought so. You know the woman who was in doing the interview saying, sign this if you know, in
Tilda Swinton.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, it looks like Tilda Swinton. And then I was like,
just
oh my
looked
god.
normal.
I know. She can, like, she's a chameleon, man.
I paused it and I went straight out to my partner. I'm like, holy cow. she looks like a beautiful woman in an office.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's still beautiful to me and incredible
Oh,
to me.
yes.
But it's just, she had eyebrows.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
I was just like, what? What? Because I thought it was her. And I'm like, nah. And then I was like, wait, I'm going to double check. So I just obviously check now. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I do want to also move on to Cameron Diaz
Oh,
and
okay, yeah, and Nuria.
Naria. So Julie and Naria. I actually liked Cameron Diaz a lot more in this movie.
Oh, okay. I'm a half and half, but I actually feel like Nuria was better.
Really?
She seemed to me the scene. Okay, so Cameron Diaz, I liked the use of having her continuously come back and laugh and mess with him. When he's seeing her, she would play out, oh, it's me, I'm Sophia. And then she'll get to a point where she'll laugh, like, yeah, just go, like, you're messed up. And it's like, oh, is it really her? Does she know what's happening? Is she still alive? That was good. But the whole car scene,
Yeah.
I think Nuria seemed like someone who was so much more traumatized. Even with the pills, she was switched off. She knew what she was going to do. Like, she acted as someone who was cold and empty. And that to me was so much more terrifying than someone who was just like, don't you love me? I'm going to crash crash the car if you don't say you're going to love me. Like, that just, like, seeing someone who's empty inside is so much more
Yeah.
terrifying.
Actually, yeah, it's a shitty thing to happen when, you are with this guy a lot and, he is like, whatever. And then you're like, I love you. And he's like, you're nothing to me. You're just a fling. That's quite heartbreaking. But then he's like, whatever. And you just crash the car. I was just like, what?
I wasn't
What?
expecting it because I didn't know this story at all.
Mm-mm.
But when it happened, I remember sitting there, I'm like, wow, she was switched off. Even the way she was talking, like, she knew the responses he was going to give, and you knew she was just done. That's why she took a whole pile of pills, and she's like, you know what? Like,
Screw you.
yeah, she was just screw the world, sort of. And it just, yeah, like I said, it's so much more freakier seeing someone who's just empty and there's nothing you can do about it. Whereas, like, Cameron Diaz just played psychotic. Well,
Yeah,
but
I
not
don't
psychotic, sorry, angry. Just
angry.
angry girl.
I don't know. I just didn't like Nuri. Like, I know that you're not meant to like her, but when they're at the party and Sophia's like, oh, look at the girl in the red dress, and oh, she's stalking you. And when you saw Nuri, I was just like, you don't look like a nice person. You don't look like a nice person.
I don't know. There was something about Nuria that was just so much more sad. She was hidden
Yeah.
up in his room. Even when she came out, she was observing him, but then she stopped. Whereas Cameron Diaz was right in his face, and she was drinking a drink right next to them. And I just feel like the anger side of it didn't strike me as the type of person who will do what she did, whereas Nuria did seem unstable. I don't know. I just think it was more chilling to see her do what she did in the first one. I did like Cameron Diaz's returning. So even when
Oh, yeah.
she smashes the vase over him and she's like, it's me, she's crying. She's like, I'm Sophia. Like, I don't know how many more times I have to say this. Same as like Nuria in the first one. But Nuria didn't break and like laugh in his face like crazy like Cameron Diaz did, which I think she did really well. But I also liked the original that she didn't break, because then it makes you think, shit, what if he really is fucked up in the head? What if he's crazy from this whole dream? And then you don't realize like it's a dream. You just think, oh, maybe he is just got a mental issue. And I just think it messed with you more not knowing that.
It was just the whole storyline. I was just like blown away because this obviously came out way before Inception.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's giving me Inception vibes, but like,
And Total Recall, like in
but
the dream.
yeah, but I was like the whole time, is this a dream? Is it real? Did he
It's a
did he
computer
fall
program.
at the end? Did he really die at the end? Did he not die at the end? Like, I like that it left me with questions.
Yeah, I was so nervous when he got up on the thing,
the
and I'm like,
ledge.
oh my God, what if he really is convincing you to jump off the edge and you're not in a dream? Like, it just left you questioning everything, and that's the purpose of those type of films, which is really good. I just want to really quickly move on to Kurt Russell, like the
Mhm.
psychiatrist character.
Yes. What I wanted to say quickly is that because I watched the original first, as soon as you kind of knew they were in a simulation when Edmund came out and he's like going up the elevator, and then you saw McCabe, and he was like, "How? Tell me how about your daughters?" He's like, "Daughters," and he just like freaked out and didn't remember his
Yeah.
daughters' names. I was like, "Easy, this is a simulation." Boom, straight away. But when Antonio, when they were up there and he got shot, I was like, because I tried to separate the two, that I was like, oh my God, did he really die? Like
Yeah.
I was like, wait, is this a simulation? Is it? I was more intrigued in this one.
Yeah, I feel like with Open Your Eyes, it wasn't until he went to take the bullets did you realize, okay, it definitely is a simulation. We're all on the same page as Cesar, but I would have to say, I think the way the script was done for Open Your Eyes made it that much more of a shock realization
Hmm.
for the realization with the two daughters, because when he tells Cesar, he's like, I once knew a man who had this and this. And then he's like, oh, I don't know. I never saw the man again. So he doesn't even realize that he was that man and he has a family. And then when he realizes building the rooftop, he not only realizes, oh, shit, I'm the man that has the two kids. And I'm the man who's also forgotten that I was supposed to have this family and I'm a simulation. So it was like three things hit him at once. Whereas
Yep.
like with the Kurt Russell one, it was more of a, what's your kids' names? And then it was like, oh, I don't know. Like, so I
Yes.
feel like the
Yes.
realization was so much more impactful for Antonio.
I agree. I was just like, wait, what? What? Yeah, I had way
Yeah.
more
And I was just like, he was
enjoyment.
the man.
I kind of wish that I did watch Open Your Eyes first.
I'm glad I watched it first. And I actually, when I was looking for a little bit of information, there was one review I saw,
Hmm.
because I looked at the reviews, not anything else. Well, I was looking for trivia, and then
Hmm.
I saw the review, and the first review that pops up is from someone in Australia that says it
Hmm.
was so hard to find this film to watch, but they started with Open Your Eyes, and their one recommendation was everyone start with Open Your Eyes instead of Vanilla Sky.
Hmm.
They had started with Vanilla Sky, so, and I'm like, I am so glad that I started with it, because I came out thinking this is incredible. And I came out and I was like, I went to my partner, I'm like, I've got to tell you about this film because I finished it so late. And I was just like, whoa. And he's like, he just looked at me and he's like, hang on a second. Tom Cruise did a film like that. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's in the sequel, like the remake. So yeah, it was such a good film.
I definitely had more of an enjoyment of Open Your Eyes.
Yeah. Also, fun fact,
Hmm.
in the scene where Cesar comes in and he sees all the pictures on the
Hmm.
wall
Hmm.
and he's like going to rip them all off, did you know that there is a comic book picture, and guess what it is?
No idea. Batman.
Neil Gaiman's The Sandman.
No way.
Yeah, and that was done in what, like 97, that film?
That's awesome.
So they were a fan of Neil Gaiman's comic books well before it's hit the Hollywood now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't see it, but I just read about it in the thing.
I really liked, going back to like storyline a bit, we always jumble it up, whatever. That when he was going through his memory and looking at pictures of Sophia, in the original, it was like comic books and it was like you were looking at through his eyes. And I really liked that it was a black and white, like pictures of it. And you're like, what? Whereas the other one was just pictures, like photographs. And I'm like, oh, they really dumbed this movie down.
They did. That's exactly what I said at the beginning. Yeah,
Hmm.
they spoon fed the audience. And then I think also because I'd seen the original, the first scene when you see Tom Cruise in the like institution, there was actually a few things that were like foreshadowing. So
Hmm.
the first one when he's in the car with Jason Lee and the truck almost hits him. and
Yeah.
the truck was on his side. So it was like the accident had almost happened, but it was foreshadowing, hey, you're going to be in an accident. And then secondly, when he was standing on the thing in the first meeting with Kurt Russell, and he's like, I'm not a big fan of heights, but he was standing and sort of peering over the table.
Mm.
And it's like, hello, you're going to have to jump later. But yeah, I don't know. I really liked that. I went into it and I didn't know anything with Open Your Eyes, so I
Mhm.
didn't know where this story was going, and it played like a story of someone that you think is just going on a mental like break after being in an accident, and I wasn't expecting it to be some sci-fi ending that it was, and I really liked that. It had me guessing the whole way through.
Yeah, prosthetics. I was like, Andrew's gonna love this
I
because
thought
he
they was
looked like the
so
Elephant Man. You know, he was bulging
yeah.
eyes and like
And you
I
didn't know
yeah.
who was under there, whereas, Tom Cruise's eyes still sort of came through, and like they in the original mask, it was still sort of very sunken and shadowy, so you couldn't even really see his eyes that much, and I really liked that. It took any personal characteristics out of his face.
Mhm.
Whereas you could like, yeah, the one he had, but then again, it's later, better technology and blah, 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 sort of
Sometimes
thing.
it doesn't need the better technology though.
No, see, that's what I've been saying.
I know. I thought the mask was creepier in the original because it did have those eyebrows, and like I said, it did give it. I was like, really did have a horror element to it.
Yeah, and I feel like this one didn't. It just had a, oh, boo-hoo, I'm rich. I'm sad my face got messed up. I'm gonna go and end my life.
Even at the nightclub scene, I thought, I thought it was so funny when in both scenes when they were drunk and he had like the mask on the
On
back
the
of his
back of his
head. And I
head.
was like, wait, and he's like dancing. That was really funny. But
Yeah, and even in that scene, Penelope fell flat.
mhm,
Like she just seemed angry and annoyed, but she didn't seem like someone that was worried that, hey, this guy is not leaving me alone. Like she seemed legitimately concerned to be left alone with him in the original. And she just fell flat in that one as well.
and even in Open Your Eyes, where they all meet up in the park, and Sophia kisses the friend, and then she goes to kiss him, and he's like no, thank you. I was like, oh, like a little bit like poor thing. Like he knows how aware he is of how disgusting his face is, and like I could empathize with him a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I also empathized with her. Like I could
Yes.
really feel for her. You meet someone once, and I liked also the night that they go back to the house, that they didn't like sort of kiss and make out on the,
Yep.
the couch like they did in the other one. But I think that was something that really pissed me off, was like you could tell the actors were definitely seeing each other, because it was their flirting came out on screen as well,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it was at the worst times. Like immediately as soon as they come in, like her eyes were just watching him at the party, and she was meant to be that type of girl that like, hey, all your money's not going to impress me, so I'm not going to be like fawning over you sort of
Mhm.
thing, and she
Mhm.
just came across like that. And then I liked that they just had a nice night at home together, like you would if it was the love of your life. You would just like have nights at home where you wouldn't like necessarily do anything further, but no, America
Exactly.
had to make them like kiss on the couch. I know she gives him a little kiss at the end, but she takes the paper just as he's about to leave, and she just gives him the like kiss, but it's a
Yeah.
little one, it's not over the top, and I'm like, all right, they lasted the whole night. It was cute and subtle.
And also, okay, I get it. You're meant to have that instant connection of like, oh my god, I love this woman. You could see that in Vanilla Sky, he was like instantly infatuated with her, and
Yes.
instantly like, oh my god, I love you, blah blah blah.
And it
But
came across like like I know in
yeah,
some films you've said people come across like a stalker, and I feel like nah, not so much.
yeah.
He came across it immediately, and it was scary.
Whereas in the original, he was like, I, really like this girl. I want to spend more time with her to get to
Yeah.
know her, kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. It was just so much more beautiful to watch.
And also, like, One of the scenes also was a lot better in the original was when he's in bed with Sophia and he puts the pillow over her face and he's like, I need to make sure that this is Sophia, you know, I was like, oh my God, don't kill her. Like,
I know. I knew a death had to come in somewhere. I wasn't expecting it to be Sophia. I was expecting it to be the friend or something.
mm-hmm.
The death of, like, when he did it to Cameron Diaz, do you know what point I thought that was crap? Was when she was dead, and then the last thing she does is she strokes his face, and then her hand drops. I'm like, no one who's suffocating
Has got the time to do that.
to go and stroke someone's face that you think loves you but not. And also, how messed up was the attack? It was so much more intense, the attack that he did on her. Like, the pictures, they showed the pictures
Mm-hmm.
of, like, Sophia in the original and then, like, Cameron Diaz, and she just had a little bruise, so, like, just where he slapped her across the face, whereas, like, Cameron Diaz, she had, like, blood scars all over her face, and then when you see her on screen, she's, like, hidden it so well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, like the ending, when he was going on that like murderous rampage, I was like, what is this? Like, I thought that was so much better than Vanilla Sky, where he was just like, I need to get out of here, I need to get out of here, and not making such a big scene.
And you didn't know until Antonio got,
Mm-hmm.
like, he even looked dead, whereas Kurt Russell just looked like an old
Yeah.
man, like, who thinks he's tired but he's not, you know. And
Yeah.
it just seemed the jig wasn't up until he realized he wasn't shot in the back.
Yeah. Yeah. I do have a few fun facts.
Yeah.
Vanilla Sky, so the director, Cameron Crowe, he really loved the Beatles' Lonely Heart Band Club. He said that this movie, because I don't know if you've seen the cover of that Beatles album, every time you look at it, there's so much going on that's something different. So he liked the fact that this movie did that.
Yeah.
And that there's a few nods to the Beatles in this movie, that the first song, the theme song for Vanilla Sky, was actually performed by Paul McCartney. They're in the town and that there's people around. One of them is wearing a Beatles shirt, and that there's a few little bits and pieces of that. It's a nod to the Lonely Heart Club album.
Interesting. And then I really liked in the second one when they, again, it was spoon-fed, but they pulled apart everything that had happened in his dream and referenced it to what he, like, because they always say your dreams are sometimes, like, they're usually sparked by something you've seen, done, or heard recently. Like, so it could be a plate on a table that you really liked, but that plate will trigger a dream or something. And I like that they're like, when him and Sophia were walking down the street and it's like, oh, this is the Bob Dylan album, or you know, you made this guy based off these films. And I thought that was really a really cool element to the Vanilla Sky film.
Yeah, I did like that as well.
And any other fun facts?
No. That was the like last minute.
Oh.
That was all that I could come up with last minute.
No, I thought that was really cool.
I just wish that they had somebody else other than Penelope Cruz just to differentiate the two films, because they were quite similar. And then you're having Sophia playing the exact same character.
I feel like if you kept her the same, would be cool. But even the way she delivered some of the same, like, similar lines were different. It was more attitude in them, like personality to it. And I'm not saying that it's wrong. Some people might like that about her, but I just really liked her original personality. And I think if you were going to have the same actor, have her as the same character.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So how many movie reels do you think?
No, do I give it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Not the big question. Yeah.
Okay. How many movie reels do you give up?
Oh, okay, I didn't prepare this. I'm tossing up between a 4 and a 4.5 for Open Your Eyes. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. It blew me out of the water because I had no idea what was going to happen. I didn't know what it was about. And then having seen it being remade just made me appreciate the structure of this film so much more than having it spoon-fed. And Yeah, I think I'm going to go a 4. I really enjoyed this film. I wanted to talk immediately as soon as I watched it. And I'm like, no, save it for the podcast because we tend to talk better when we don't talk about it prior.
Yeah.
As for Vanilla Sky, I actually got bored with this film at some point. I
Same.
was like looking
Same.
at my watch a lot.
I was like, wait, how long has this movie got to go? And I'm like, it's only 40 minutes into it.
Yeah.
And I was really confused
Yeah.
a lot, but I just, like I said, I'm not a huge Tom Cruise fan, and I was just like, cool.
I don't mind him. I don't have an issue with the actors or actresses that were in the film. I don't typically hate their stuff and I don't specifically like it, but I just feel like the changes they made were crap. But as Americans like to over embellish things, they extended a lot of things that didn't need to be extended and the runtime went up. And I did get bored, so I would probably put this one, and it was very spoon fed, so I'd probably give it a 2.
Hmm.
What about
Fair
you?
enough. So I wish that I watched Open Your Eyes first. Like I'm actually like regretting it. But watching Vanilla Sky first, I was like I said a second ago, I was bored, and I really couldn't connect to Tom Cruise. I was like, nah, and I didn't believe that he loved Sophia so quickly. I think I'm gonna
Yeah,
go with you. I think I'm gonna go give this one a 2.
yeah,
Whereas even though I kind of knew what was going on with Open Your Eyes, and a lot of people were saying it's the exact same film, I was like, no, it's not. There were a lot of differences,
yeah,
and I genuinely enjoyed this one a lot more.
yeah.
So I think I'm going to give this one a 4 as well.
Yeah. I think they're good. I
And
think
I
they're
think
reasonable.
I would actually watch Open Your Eyes again.
When I'm studying, I get very tired, so I don't tend to want to watch subtitled films often, but I don't mind subtitled films. And I think if I was in that mood, I would put it on. I think it was a really good film. A lot going on story-wise.
Mhm.
Like you think, oh, is it like a Beauty and the Beast theme, or oh, is this more like Total Recall? But it's its own film in itself, and it's so incredible.
And like what Cameron Crowe said, that and taking it back to the Lonely Heart Club, you could watch this movie again and pick different things up. You could
Yeah,
always find something different within this film, and that's what I like, and that's why I would like to watch this again
yeah,
to pick
yeah.
up different things.
Agree.
Yeah, definitely. All right, now the big question.
Okay. All right. I'm
Okay, we'll
not
start
really
with
ready for it, but
Open
okay.
Your Eyes.
All
What do you
right.
think it got on Rotten Tomatoes?
Having seen that one review and our opinions as well,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like those who've watched it would agree that it
Mm-hmm.
is the superior film.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like not many people know that it's a remake, like it's the original to Vanilla Sky.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking like it's going to have a mark around average. So I'm thinking 64.
Way higher.
Oh, yay, that makes me happy.
And
Okay,
same.
I'm
As soon as
happy
I saw
about
this,
that.
I was like, I'm happy with this.
Okay, all right. Okay, if you're thinking that and we both gave it a 4, not complete full marks. 82.
So
Oh,
close. It got
ugh.
87%.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. All right, let me
Yep.
have a go at the
Mhm.
audience score. I'm gonna go 93.
Close,
Okay, so
but
higher
lower.
or lower? Okay.
But like,
87.
not by much.
Okay, 87 and then I guess 93. 91.
Close again. It got
Oh
88%.
no.
So close.
That's so close.
All right. So let's go Vanilla Sky.
Okay. I feel like a lot of people start with this one. It was Tom Cruise, Hollywood budget, and I feel like it'll be around the same mark, but not quite as high. Like maybe like 74.
So much lower.
Oh, thank God.
Again, I was happy with this one.
Okay, all right. 53.
so close. 42%.
I'm happy with that. I don't think
Yep.
it was terrible, but it was not good compared to the original. All right, the audience score for this one. Okay, that's 42 to 32.
So much higher.
You're kidding.
No, the look on your face is like, yeah, lower. No,
The audience
it's so much
preferred
higher.
this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. 65.
72%.
Oh, what is wrong? These people clearly haven't seen Open Your Eyes.
I think so.
Okay, shall we move on to
Notice-on's Nerdy Notables.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to me quickly because I know you've got a lot to say.
I don't have a lot to say.
Oh, because it was okay. Well, oh, that's right. I went to that play. You know how it's going
Oh,
on
yeah.
about
And then you messaged me saying it wasn't that good.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
So it was a play called Nothing. And it was just two people, but they were like, and then
Rick and
Sally
Morty.
said
It's just
this,
two brothers.
and then she said this, and I was like, what? And yeah, it said that it was like Hunger Games meets Lord of the Flies.
Yeah. And
But
then
it was just two kids that, like, it was a bunch of school kids that got bored and decided to destroy their stuff.
yeah.
But the most embarrassing thing happened to me. So we went and had dinner and a few drinks beforehand, and one of the guys that I was with, he just 10 minutes into it got up and left.
Yeah.
And there was only about 50 people in the audience, and
So
we were
it's really
sitting.
obvious.
It was really obvious. So we were like halfway into the halfway down, and my bladder went to like an 11, and it was an hour into the play, and
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
I can't do this anymore. So I got up and I went to the bathroom, and I came back as quick as I can, literally sat back down, and they went, the end, clap, clap, clap. And I was like, oh no.
You should have just left.
But I didn't know how long it was there for.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, how embarrassing. Like, they saw me get up and then be like, oh.
But they saw you come back. That's like they probably
At
would
least
have
I came
known.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you went to the bathroom. Yeah.
And then I went to the gin festival, and that was
Yeah.
fun. I brought way too much gin. It was delicious.
It was good. I saw you drinking it tonight.
No, that's water. Just water. I
Oh,
promise.
water with lemon.
No, but there was one called the bathtub, and it was like all of these different flavors, and it was delicious. And then there was another one called Sailor's Potion, and it was 69% alcohol.
Wow.
It was really fun. I went to a flash sale yesterday and got myself a tattoo. I got a little watermelon.
And she says she hasn't done much, people.
What else was it? Oh, my class had finished, so I've got 2 weeks off before it
Nice.
starts up again.
Yay.
And okay, this is really funny as well. So that Bali thing came out,
Yep.
and I'll watch it one day. I just, not in the right frame of mind to watch it. And so anyway, my friend sent me a snippet, and she's like, there you are, 'cause my nickname's Daffles. So she's like, Daffles, there you are. And I'm like, where am I? And it was right down the bottom in the left-hand
Can you
corner.
send me the clip? Because I haven't watched the Bali series. I'm like, I really want to see Steph.
It was me doing the worst dance ever.
Oh, was this to the absolutely everybody?
Yeah. Oh, so triggered. And because we had to do that for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
And my feet were tired, and I'm like, ugh. And so anyway, I walked into the office the next day, and everybody's like trying to do my dance move. I'm like, oh, this is so embarrassing. And then I went into class that night, and everyone's like, who am I? And they're doing my dance move. I'm like, shut up, I'm so embarrassed.
That's cool. A lot of people have seen it now.
Yeah, but I'm literally, my mate said she saw me like 4 times, but yeah,
Cool.
it was pretty funny.
That's cool. You should like find your pictures, create an IMDb profile.
Heck yes, as dancer number 312.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's cool. So for me, let's see. I did go to the Crunchyroll convention in first one in Australia. Didn't go so well. Definitely not as big an event as they have overseas. A lot of drama happened with it. I'm sure you can find it online. It's just way too much for me to go over. But luckily, I got to do the things I wanted. But just unfortunately, a lot of people really missed out. Um, so I went to that. I'm heavily back into my studies at this stage. I've been working on a couple of my assignments. I have been watching House of Dragon weekly because I know when I study, I just do not have a binging capacity. So I'm like, right, I will watch it every week so I know I'm up to date. And it's only one episode I have to watch. So I've been watching that. And I've been watching the new Rick and Morty episodes. Have you been watching them?
Yes.
Oh my God, this season is so good.
The whole Beth and Beth thing, I was
Yeah.
like, what?
That was so good.
It's a
The
bit
Die
spicy.
Hard episode, and
Yeah,
I
that was
just
so good.
this season has been incredible. I really love this season. I think I told you last time that I did start Vampire Diaries. Did I tell you?
No, I like the Vampire Diaries or Vampire Academy.
Vampire Diaries. I've read Vampire Academy. The movie looked terrible, so I didn't watch it. And now I know there's a series coming as well, which also looks terrible.
Oh yeah, but it's good trashy.
I like the books. I think the books were good. But I did start Vampire Diaries. I know it's a really old series. I started it and I got a decent way through. I think I got 6 or 8 episodes into the first season, and I got to a point where I'm like, this is boring. I actually didn't like it, and I haven't gone back to it. And I haven't finished Sandman yet, which I'm really bummed out about.
I haven't started it yet.
I
Is it
watched
good?
the first episode, which is very much like the book. You know, the first episode sort of builds where he is. I don't want to give too much away. Which is pretty it's pretty accurate. So I'm keen to finish the rest. To see how it is. What else have I been watching? Not much.
Oh my gosh. I saw the most beautiful movie. I think it's genuinely my favorite movie of the year so far.
Yeah.
It's called Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. It is so adorable. It's about a little shell and her grandma, and that they are in a house, and that it's a mockumentary of it. Oh, you just need to watch it.
Yeah. Okay, I'll have a look.
It's so just pulls at the heartstrings, and it is the most cutest, most beautiful thing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll have a look. Okay. So the next episode is my choice. I still need to finish the book.
I finished it tonight.
I will finish it this week. So it is Frankenstein the book versus the original Frankenstein film, which I'll get you the exact year.
1939.
I was going to say 34, but there you go. I was close in my head. No, it's 31. Yeah.
Oh, we were both wrong.
I was closer. So yeah, we're gonna do that book.
And my October choice, I did say I was going to do Hocus Pocus 2. I've been wanting to do this movie for a really long time, and it was so hard to find, but then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go on Microsoft and pay $4 or whatever it was for it. So I'm going to do House of Wax 1953 versus the 2005 one.
Yeah, I'm pretty keen for this one.
And House of Wax, I'm going to be telling a Penny Dreadful.
Oh, okay. I'll try and tell a Penny Dreadful for Frankenstein.
Okay. Cool.
Right.
So if you want to follow us on Instagram or Facebook under Nerdazons, we'd love to hear from you at nerdazons@outlook.com. You can listen to us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and wherever you get your good podcasts. Until then, stay nerdy. Is this a dream or is it reality?